This is the 7 o'clock meeting of the Solid Waste Commission of Fairfield, and it's 7:03. If we can, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance. Everybody can join in. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we can, I'd like to just have a moment of silence for our military, the people who give their lives for our country, and the people who are serving our country. Okay, so thank you. So in attendance, we have Misty, Tim, Ed Bowman is the Public Works, myself, Guy, Josephine is our staunch reporter, secretary, and Joseph Pagnosi. So we'll go with the numbers that I assigned in case Andrew comes. Go ahead.
Andrew Becker's here as well.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Hi, Andrew.
Number one.
So we just started. We'll go with the numbers that I assigned, and I only did it as a mechanical so that if we discuss a particular item, I want to poll everybody, and I'm just going to go down because I can't see your faces or see your hand raised, and I don't want to miss anybody. So on the old business, if we could go to old business first. Joe, what's the first item on old business?
CCSM.
Oh, I'm sorry. Which
okay.
Josephine? Okay.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at the Connecticut Conference of for the recycling. Misty, what do you have to report on that?
Well, you mean the CCSMM?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Well, you mentioned, okay, so we talked to Tom Bremer, and we asked the town to look at to see if we could join this particular group. And Hugh, you've been more active with them than I have, but my understanding is that we are now part of that organization or the working groups.
We are, and let me just add this to what your conversation is. Tom was very supportive. As the commissioners know, last month we were quite perturbed, I'm going to use that word, because we hadn't been advised that the CCSMM was even meeting, and by the time Misty became aware of it and I joined the meeting, it was actually their closing meetings of the forum. They had 4 or 5 already, and in this closing meeting, they were essentially asking for final recommendations to go to the governor. Well, most of the input, I have to quite categorically say, most of the input was to tell the governor or to suggest to the governor to allow the Hartford Regional Recycling Burn Plant to close and push forward to close the Bridgeport Recycling Burn Plant and to develop a bunch of state-level mandates for the towns and the cities to adopt. So, unfortunately, or fortunately, they didn't meet a consensus, and a lot of those people are going back to the drawing boards. But unfortunately, it appears to me as though the sense of many of those members that were there were people from Bridgeport, Greenwich, Stamford, Norwalk, nobody else in our district, and then all the other people upstate. And the sense of them is that they want to close, they're happy of closing Hartford, and they want to get Bridgeport closed, the burn plants. And what we should be aware of as a commission is that if Bridgeport closes, we have a ton of garbage that is now going to have to be hauled 2 or 3 states away.
So that Bowman, does that make any sense? Let's solve the problem by sending everything to a landfill.
Yeah, thank you.
And the Bridgeport plant, by the way, entirely different than the Hartford plant.
Hello?
Yes?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ed.
It's entirely different from the Hartford plant, different technology. It was also privately owned rather than publicly owned. They let that plant in Hartford go down to hell without spending any money on it.
Yeah,
Bridgeport plant's profit motive. They're burning more garbage now and making more electricity now and recycling more stuff now than they did 30 years ago. It's a big difference. And they have 16 continuous emission monitors in the smokestack that monitor for almost every possible emission, and it's sent electronically to Deep in Hartford. And they have controls on it that will shut it down if it exceeds it for more than 15 minutes. I mean, this is a state-of-the-art plant even today.
Which, Bridgeport?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we as a commission, in one of our subcommittees, we're going to appreciate your intelligence on this because you're the expert. Because you know what's going to happen if they close them all down and we got to haul this all to Ohio or Pennsylvania, and somebody even said ship it by freight car to Alabama, the tonnage cost is going to go through the roof. And
the tonnage cost is a potential liability.
Right, exactly. What do you think about the people in Ohio when they find out that they're not being too happy? Okay.
Yeah. But I'll give you one example. In the past, before that plant was open, we were shipping waste to different landfills in Connecticut, New Milford and Shelton, and the whole 10 years later was convicted of dumping hazardous waste in a landfill in New Jersey, right?
Yep.
I
Because
feel like I'm listening to
because he had no records of where it came from. Trumbull and Westport and other towns in Connecticut had to pay millions of dollars in damages.
Oh.
And like he said, why would I ship it to New Jersey when I had Connecticut landfill? It doesn't make any sense.
Go
anyway,
to Stanford.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's potential habit, as well as the diesel emissions from all that shipping. God.
Yep. So my recommendation is that Misty and myself, as a subcommittee, if one of the other members would like to join us, would be assigned the task to continue to monitor the CCSMM and attend its telephonic meetings, and then report back to the commission. Does any other commissioners want to assist on that? I'm suggesting Misty myself, but if any other commissioners would like to assist on that, then more than welcome.
Yes, this is Tim Besler, and I'm very interested in that.
Okay.
And I understand what you're saying. And I believe the Bridgeport plant was built specifically for what it's doing, whereas the one up in Hartford was a coal plant with a 50 or 60-year-old GE turbines. I mean,
right. They were burning coal and garbage.
Exactly.
Well,
coal.
You're right. And before I poll everybody, because I want everybody to have input, let me just share with you the lawyer for the CCSMM made a presentation, and his presentation, and this was very disconcerting. His presentation, the central focus of the presentation was that the I want to use the word correctly. The bedroom communities were using inner city communities to burn their garbage, and that's why they wanted them closed. That is not going to be addressed by whether the technology is good or bad. That sounds to me like
I know things change. Because I was project manager in the Bridgeport plant for CRRA, by the way.
Yeah. What's that?
We had
right.
We had the city of Bridgeport approval. We had the neighborhood groups come and testify in favor of it.
I would think so.
Because what was there before were like fat rendering plants and things that were really horrible. This is an improvement.
Absolutely. Okay, so does anybody have a comment on the CCSMM, the first item on the agenda?
Yeah, I do. Number 2.
Go ahead.
Misty.
Yep.
Are you sure we're registered with this group?
As far as I know, we are, because I signed up with the town of Fairfield and the Solid Waste Recycling Committee, and when I called, they had my name and number already on the agenda.
Okay, because I'll double check on that. Okay.
Yeah, because if we're not, we could just do whatever has to be done. But when I called, I had no problem signing in. They gave me a sign-on number and everything.
Hey, does formal action? This is Ed again. Formal action has to be taken, like by the Board of Selectmen to join or something?
No, no. Each community simply had to send a representative from the Solid Waste Department.
I'm looking at the website right now, and Fairfield's not on it at this point.
Oh, okay. Okay. As a member?
As a member.
Okay, so Misty, then, could you follow up on that?
Yep.
There must be some formal thing you have to do to join.
Maybe there's a paperwork or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. So you, I just need to get that information from you, to get into the site. That's all.
Okay, I will get it, and so I make a motion that we set up a subcommittee of yourself, myself, and Tim Besler to follow up with the CCSMM and keep abreast of it and report back to the commission as necessary.
Yeah. Okay.
Any second?
I second.
Yeah.
Joe, number 9.
Okay. Any discussion? Oh, hearing none. Make a motion. The motion is that we set up a subcommittee for Tim Besler, myself, and Misty to monitor and interface with the CCSMM and report back to the commission. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. I'm going to ask the commissioners for a little leeway. Ed has joined us, and he is inundated with work, and I appreciate him coming. And I want to ask him if he could give us an update on. This is outside of the old business right now, but I don't want to make Ed stay for the entire thing if he has other things to do. The interim department chairman or interim department director will join us in February. I talked to him on the phone, had a very pleasant conversation with him. He also has absorbed a lot of new duties and has very limited staff. But Ed, could you just take a minute and tell us what's going on and where you see your role in with the solid waste recycling?
Seriously, we don't know really what's going on. They're reorganizing the government, and how the solid waste and recycling department is going to be reorganized is still up to, we don't know. It's being discussed. Public Works is being reorganized. We don't really know, and at my level, no one's telling me anything anyway.
Okay.
But I'd be glad to continue to attend these meetings with you. I've been involved in solid waste in Fairfield since 1970, so I'm I'm not new to this at all. The second part of your question I forgot already.
No, stand by 1 minute. There's an alarm going out, and I just want to wait for it.
Okay.
Hang on. And the second part of the question had to do with we had requested some things from Mike with respect to the contract and the management of the compactors. Without boring you with all the details, a lot of the things that we had requested as a commission over the past 6 or 7 or 8 months, we got very little feedback and input. And so we were asking for the actual contract signed by the new compactor company, and then the metrics that that the town or we or you or somebody would be able to use to measure the throughput, the effectiveness, and that kind of thing. When I talked to you real briefly, you had indicated to me that you really didn't know where most of that stuff was, and you'd be willing to help us out. Does that still stand?
Try and find it, yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're still in that same position. I went down there the other day. It looks like it's operating a lot better than it was quite a while ago, 2 months ago. But there's still questions with respect to why is everything being dumped on the ground and then being pushed into the hole. Those kind of questions, and one of the biggest questions the commission had is the $30,000 overtime per month. It was continuing even after the new compactors had been installed. It kind of flabbergasted us. And then another question was we were told that after the compactors had been installed, we had to buy a $5,600 computer software upgrade. And we said, well, wait a minute, isn't this part of the contract? So that's where the issue of where's the contract and what are the measurement metrics? Does anybody, if I could just poll the members, have I restated that correctly, Andrew, number one?
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Misty?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm pretty amazed the overtime is still there, too, because, when Audrey was telling me and Mike was telling me, and, when Vira was telling us, stuff was going through it like crazy, unbelievably fast.
Well,
I don't know what the hell the overtime was. I had to find out what it was for. And I'll be looking at the bills for last month, and I'll see what it's for.
That's what we appreciate, because we had asked, quite honestly, very simple. I think, Joseph, he can help me on this, but I think maybe about 7 months ago, we had asked for an audit, and we were told explicitly that Mike was auditing all the invoices and finding out why the overtime, what's created it, blah blah blah. And I think Guy, you remember a couple of times he said, it's very simple. You just get the chits and then find out, did the guy work and what caused it. And we never got the results of that audit. And then we were told that the town auditors were going to look at it, and I've heard nothing about that at all.
I mean, the overtime, I would think, the overtime had to be authorized before it was done.
Well,
maybe not. Certainly, if I was running, I wouldn't let Enviro work overtime without a written authorization from the town.
Well, I'll be straight up. Since we asked for the contract, we haven't seen it, so I can't even see what the contract says. Once we take a look at the contract, then I could say, overtime is to be paid on demand, or overtime is to be incurred by approval. I don't know what it says. I mean, normally, you, me, and most of the people in this committee, on this commission, would not write a blank check for overtime.
And I helped, negotiate the Enviro contract. I don't think there's any mention of overtime in there.
Oh, interesting.
I may be wrong. I'll check again. The overtime only came about. Enviro's been doing this for 30 years without any overtime. It's when the contractor failed. That's what caused the overtime. So
Hugh,
not failing, everything's working right. Why is there overtime?
I have a question, Hugh.
Who's that?
Joe, number 9.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, that $30,000 salary overtime, that goes back to last July. And I think I asked that question, was that per month or was that a one-time deal? Do you know?
Per month.
It was per month. The overtime was about $300,000.
Right.
Yeah,
so it wasn't even budgeted. I don't see it on the...
No. How would it be budgeted?
Right.
We never had it before.
Overtime. Right.
Okay, so, Ed, we would like to get a copy of the contract with Enviro. I think that contract goes until 2024.
Yeah.
And then I will work with, if the commission is favorable, I will work with the First Selectman's office to find out how that audit occurred, if it did in fact. I don't even know, to be honest with you, whether an audit occurred. We were told it was
somebody sent me the copies of the audit on solid waste. I haven't really looked at it, but I'll see what's in there.
Oh,
I'll get you copies of that too.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. Let me see. Tim, any question? Number 3. Guy?
Number
None.
3. No.
Okay, Guy doesn't. Michael's not here. Joseph, you already had. Misty, did you have anything to add?
No, but I'm just assuming. Okay, so we're going to get a report from Ed next meeting on where the overtime came in and why. And make sure we don't have this issue in the future.
Well, you get the report ahead of time, so obviously we can discuss it next month.
Yeah, Misty. I don't think he has to give us a report if he just provides us the documentation that they've already done, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Ed has a lot of work to do, and he's only Ed, you're only part time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's here till 9 to 1, and you guys know the way offices are, and when staffing has been cut back, and so I don't want to inundate Ed. But if he shares with us the documentation that they have, I think that'll go a long way to helping us out.
Okay.
This is Tim. Number
you may have new questions to ask, but at least you'll get the old ones answered.
Yeah. Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, I was muted before. I didn't realize it. I would at some point like to get down and see this compactor. So if someone could let me know who to contact to go do that.
Hey, Ed.
Yeah.
I went down the other day, and I just went to the scale and then identified myself, and then I went up to the dump, the hole, and I talked to the two guys from Enviro, and once I identified myself, they were fine. So, you don't have any issue with that, right?
No, not at all.
If Tim and I go up there, or Tim and say Andrew or somebody go up there and identify ourselves who we are, you don't have any issue with that, right?
Absolutely not. I don't think the town would either. No.
No,
okay.
I think
I've got a
that's
dermatologist
our
appointment downtown
responsibility.
tomorrow. I may just go down and do that then.
Okay, good.
Q?
Yeah. Hello, can I interrupt for a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I apologize. I've been waiting. This is Mike Pasowitz. I apologize also. I had joined the meeting a few minutes late. I've been on since you were discussing the CC SMM. I really didn't want to interrupt.
Okay.
When you did call number 8, I couldn't get to the mute quick enough. But I am here and listening in.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other discussion on this particular item that we're talking with Ed?
Oh, Hugh. Yeah, I think as commissioners we have almost an obligation to sometime to get down there and see what's going on. And there's no interference of that at all. I know that this is my second term.
It might be a good idea to give me a call. Maybe I can go down or send someone down there, at least other than Enviro, can answer questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with Mike, it was pretty open. I think
I'm sure it's open, but you won't have anybody there to answer questions. You just see things.
Hey, folks,
sure.
It's Guy Gleitman. I go down to the transfer station once a week. I take all of my recyclables and garbage, and I'm happy to report out that the compactors are working, and I'm always happy to report back on when they're not. And it's night and day. Night and day.
Very good.
Hey, Ed?
Yep.
What are the other items that we were going to ask? To be honest, we didn't know that Mike was leaving. So one of the other items that we were going to ask for is, we did ask him for, is for us to meet every 2 weeks during every other month. In other words, have an interim meeting so that issues don't blow up in our face, like the compactors and that kind of thing. And concurrent with that was a management operating report of some kind of metrics and some kind of a monthly report that most other departments give their commissioners, just so that we get a heads up a week before the meeting, so that we don't walk into a meeting. Of course, we can't walk into one now, but we don't walk into a meeting and have 15 haulers breathing down our backs because something is going awry that we didn't know about. So, would you give us this information about the contracts? Could you see what you would identify as the metrics for management of the whole of that operation down there? What are the metrics that you would use? Is it the throughput? Is it the number of trucks? Is it the number of drop-offs by the refuse companies? Is it the number of homeowners that drop off? What were the metrics that you would measure the place by if you were running it on a full-time basis? Because that will help us. Because as I told John, we're not here to look over your shoulder on everything. We're here to be your. We want to be proactive. We want to be positive, and we want to work with everybody to make that place a success. It just baffles us that in 2020 we had all these issues. I mean, I'm talking about 2020 after the town's been here since 300 years, right?
Yeah.
After 300 years, we can't get handling the town's refuse correct.
That doesn't make sense, no.
And we have so many other issues like recyclables and wet, food stuff and all kinds of issues that are really heavy issues that we don't feel is fair to be diverting our attention on when we can't even do the basic stuff. It'd be like us in the fire department trying to take care of people's smoke detectors when we can't even put out their fires. You follow what I'm saying? I mean, if we can't handle their garbage, how are we going to tell the homeowners how to handle their trash? So anyway,
you don't even know how it's being handled.
Yeah, that's where we stand. So I appreciate you coming. And you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. I don't mean to cut you off, and you're absolutely more than welcome to stay. And you can cut in anytime you want. But I wanted to be able to have everybody say hello to you, talk to you, touch base with you, and then let you go if you have to, because I know you have a full day tomorrow. Does anybody else have a comment or a question for Ed? Andrew?
No, thank you for attending, Ed. I appreciate it.
Misty?
No. Hi, Ed.
Well, Tim, I know I go way back with Ed. Just want to say hello.
Oh, cool.
Tim, yeah.
Okay, good. Did you guys work together?
Well, my business. I've been working as a manufacturer's rep for wastewater treatment equipment for 30-some years, and I know Ed from our various organizations, and one of the reasons I'm on this committee is that I'd have a conflict of interest with WPCA because I sell equipment to the
Gotcha.
plant. So, yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Okay.
Well, I want to sit around the glass and organics too.
Oh, good. Okay, good. We're going to talk about that. Misty's got some things to say. Guy, anything?
Mr. Chairman, let's move on, please. Joe.
No comments. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay. Michael, anything from you?
No, well, only, Ed, what's the best way to reach you to maybe get a tour of the place?
203-767-0939, my cell phone.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next item on the old business. Josephine, what was the next item?
Glass and organic.
Okay.
No, subcommittee report.
Oh, education outreach.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's the deal.
Misty, you're the one who brought up the education outreach, and part of that, I believe, is to do with the very poor public relations outreach on the hazardous waste week.
Oh,
so
okay.
Go ahead.
I'm going to back up for a second quickly. Last meeting, we talked about setting up subcommittees so that we can get more work done,
Yep.
and we were going to look at a couple of things. We were going to look at the possibility of organic recycling, being part of the glass pilot project, and then we were going to look at education, setting up an education and outreach program, because it's not just the hazmat, it's across the board. There's
Right.
a lot of issues, as we all know, with recycling and our haulers going nuts. We've created a lot of problems because we haven't talked to our communities about proper ways of recycling and some of the big contamination issues. So in any case, we talked about setting up these committees and also including individuals from the public in these subcommittees, which I think will make it much more effective. There's a lot of work that the Sustainable Task Force has been doing, and there are certainly other individuals that are interested in being a part of these groups. So I thought we were going to just establish what the committees were and see who on the commission might want to participate in the subcommittees, and then we move from there. And I mentioned 3 committees: the glass, the organics, and the education and outreach, but you all may have other committees, subcommittees as well. So
If I could kind of interject, I agree with what you're saying. I think that we need as a commission to make sure that the department is running the right way, efficiently and effectively. The town is going through seems to be a tsunami of reorganization right now, and so there's a dearth of people down there. So we can help, but we don't want to get in the way, and we certainly don't want to start creative things that are going to cause more issues. I like the idea of setting up committees, an education and outreach committee, and my idea, and you guys, give me your input, is we set up an education and outreach committee and charge them with looking at the glass and organics recycling as for our own education first, to find out what's going on, what's the tonnage, what's the throughput, what are the options out there, because there's not many options in glass, and there's a lot of problems with contamination thereof, and what are the options of the organics recycling, something I'm pretty hot on because I've been doing organics recycling for many years. So, Misty, would you be willing? Would that be a good idea? We have one subcommittee that has education outreach, and in there we incorporate the glass and organics as a component, and then later, if we find out that we need to split those committees out, we can do that.
It's fine with me. I have gotten some feedback from individuals in the community that would like to work on the committees. But if we want to just set up one and then work in subcommittees there, it's fine with me. How do other people feel about that? Hello.
Number one.
About setting up an education and outreach committee, and then when that group meets, that there can be these different threads that we follow.
Yep.
Misty, number 9. Misty, are you saying that we would have members on those committees that are non-commission members?
Yes, definitely.
Well, we don't.
I don't know. That would be extending ourselves.
Yeah, if I could interject. We talked to Tom Bremer, and he's going to get back to us with respect to members on our subcommittees that are not members of the commission. So. We have we have by charter a commission that has a certain thing to do. So we can't make members of the subcommittees that are not members of the commission because they're not playing by the same rules.
Right. That would be interference with our goal, our mission.
But certainly we have to have a mechanism. For example, Ed is not on our subcommittee. He's not even a member of our commission. And actually he doesn't report to us, but we're using him as a source of information right now and as an input. And so we certainly could use other organizations like the CCSMM. That's not a member of our committee, but we certainly can have an interface with them and use them as a source of data, intelligence, information, that kind of thing. And I think that's what Misty means. I don't think she means that we're actually going to have these other outside members actually.
Are going to be part of a voting commission, but there's a lot of CCSMM has a tremendous amount of research going on in all of these different areas. The interlocal recycling group that we're a part of is looking at the piloting glass recycling projects.
Yep.
So I think the research is going to be done by getting our community active and engaged in these conversations, and we can help facilitate that. I'm not talking about people coming into the commission meeting and making recommendations by any means. I think there's a lot of the amount of information that's out there is just overwhelming.
No, I understand, and I appreciate that. But let me just advise all of us that we have to be very careful that when we accept research from somebody, if we're a commissioner and we're part of a subcommittee, and we accept research from somebody and bring it back, we own that. We better make sure that the research is not disjointed, it's correct, it's the right data. You follow what I'm saying? Because we as a commission are then going to go forward and make recommendations. And I say this because I heard things up at the CCSMM of people saying things about tonnage and costs and everything, and then others right on the same meeting, on the same telephone call, saying, no, that's not the way it is at all. That's not accurate. So we have to be careful that as a commission, if we have working subcommittees, that all of the working subcommittees know that our data has to be, on the money.
Well, I think their job is to do the research and present the research that's out there and talk about, what's going on. That's what I mean. And
and there'll be more than one version of the research, and up to you to review them both, or 3 of them, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll have more than one research that draws one conclusion, and another research draws another. You have to look at them both. That's all.
Exactly. Who's that, Ed?
Yeah. Sorry, 4, Ed. Yeah, I keep forgetting.
But
exactly.
Yes. Okay.
By the way, I have position papers and all this that I prepared last year. I'll get that to you too.
Thank you. And I was just going to ask you, can you give us some insight from your expertise on the glass recycling in Connecticut or Fairfield County?
Yeah, I have the glass. I have food recycling. I have even the mattress. We did that. I have 3 or 4 position papers last year, which I did for the first selection actually.
Okay, we have a.
I should share them with you. I mean, what I try to do is say the good and the bad and the ugly. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? That's what John Marsilio said. He said, Hugh, if you ask me a question or you ask me to bring you something, he says, I'm going to give you what we have. He says, you may not like it. He says, you're going to get the good and the bad and the ugly. And you know what? That's all we appreciate. That's what we want. So
John and I have been friends for 50 years. We think alike.
Oh, okay. Now we know. See, a little collusion here. No, I'm only kidding. Okay.
So he's been involved with the solid waste and recycling for 30 years too.
Yep. Andrew, I'm gonna go down the poll and ask anybody if they want to add something to the discussion, and then I'm going to ask for a recommendation on a motion if the commission wants to make a motion. Andrew, anything to say?
I would just be in agreement that I'm a little leery to add outside members to subcommittees, although I think that if we have subcommittees set up and we have meetings, I certainly enjoy the input of the outside members that might attend.
Okay, good. Misty, you talked to Tim?
I have one question. Does anyone know, has Urban Mining started up? The company in Beacon Falls that's using recycled glass for cement additive?
Misty?
Yeah. And I was their plans were to start up 2 weeks ago. So I'm sorry, I've been inundated with work, and I haven't gotten back to him. But you know something. I think Hugh, we need to ask also if anybody wants to be on the commission a part of this educational and outreach.
I will as soon as I get through the list. I got to get down to number 9. When I get down to number 9, I'm going to ask for volunteers.
Okay.
Unless somebody wants to volunteer and give me the input. Okay, Guy, anything?
No, I'm for the subcommittees, but I agree that everybody needs to be obligated to bring the detail that stands up.
Good, thank you. Josephine, Michael?
Yeah, I have to say I kind of would side more with Misty, and when you talk about the committees, I would see no problem with having a working committee and have non-commission members on it, and it would be the commission members who would bring it back, for further breakdown and where the decisions would be made.
Okay.
Also, I would volunteer to be on that committee.
Oh, good. Okay. And Joe?
I think we have to be careful about how we extend sort of the input that comes into our selected commissioners. Information is very important. Research is very important. But that's our obligation to seek that out and to get it. I think if we start extending committees and subcommittees, I know I've been on other committees and commissions, it becomes very cumbersome, and it becomes interfering with our goal and what we're supposed to do as an oversight commission. We're basically an oversight.
So I'm looking for a way to form the motion to take into everybody's consideration. So, and Misty, you can help me in case I make a mistake. When we spoke with Tom Bremer, we did specifically get an answer as to whether a non-commissioned member could assist us, and to what degree they could assist us on our subcommittees. And,
well, wouldn't Ed Bowman have to answer that? I mean, Ed, you've been around forever.
I'll go back to Tom and get that more specifically. So what I'm suggesting is we set up a subcommittee. It looks like Michael, Misty, and I'd like to have one other person at least, and the chairman is ex officio member of every committee, but I'd like to have somebody else on it to have a subcommittee of these things, and have the only open issue as to bringing outside members. I have no problem bringing outside subject matter experts in to the subcommittee and provide data and information and that kind of thing. But we don't want to open ourselves up to an outside person not being as forthright as, say, Tim Besler, saying, and identifying potential conflicts of interest. We're not going through all of that. We don't know all that.
I can say that there's got to be, for every one valid person pursuing organic recycling, there's probably 5 or 6 out there that have not pursuing it. Well, we have a great idea. How do you know the difference?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not up to you to meet all these people and decide it either. Hey, just an aside, you probably should look at the charter and see what your charge is under the charter.
Yeah. Can I interject on this? And it's also very important that we don't have meetings outside the confines or the parameters of when commission meetings meet, because minutes have to be taken and all that. So we have to be very careful, because there could be some sort of mischievous ideas coming in. So
exactly. And like when you guys authorized me to be a subcommittee to look at the Norwalk and the Westport and the Trumbull Solid Waste Facility, I didn't meet with anybody except the heads of each of those departments and the operators of each of those departments, which the whole commission knew. And then when I reported back exactly what I was told by those people.
Yeah, that's appropriate. I mean, that's
right. So we have to be careful.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need one other person to volunteer for this committee. I have Michael, Misty. Misty, did you volunteer or not?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Misty, you're doing a lot of work for us, and we appreciate it. But I don't want you to get inundated.
Well, I think this is really important for our commission.
We all appreciate that. So, but I want you to be. You're already on the. You're already on another committee.
That's your vocation.
What?
Right, Misty? Ed Bowman. Misty, that's your vocation, not your job.
Well, what about Tim?
Yeah, no, I'm very interested. I've been reading up a lot of, especially about food waste and this glass recycling. I'd be very interested in this. To understand this is an education/outreach involved with the alternatives for glass and food waste.
Yes.
Yes, I'll volunteer for that.
What we're doing in education and outreach is we're proposing a subcommittee that would help the commission and the department and the town, of course, develop education and outreach programs that would, and the initial focus is on glass and organics recycling. But bear in mind that one of the impetuses, is that the right word? Impetuses. One of the drivers of that was our great dissatisfaction of the plethora of information, the lack of information about the hazardous waste operation this past summer, where we had the Fairfield Day, and we spent $3,300 in overtime, and basically nobody showed up for it. It wasn't even advertised. Yeah. It wasn't even advertised until the morning of. Most mailers didn't get into the mailboxes until the morning of the collection day. So that's what we're proposing. Okay, so we have Michael, Misty, and Tim.
Guy number 6. Before you go down that road,
Guy,
to clarify, is that what we're proposing? I mean, glass and organics were not really related to hazardous waste collection, right? I mean, those are two unrelated events.
Right.
No, you're right. I agree with you, Guy. We're talking about education and outreach, and that was the. You want me to just strike hazardous waste from that?
Yeah, I don't think that's what this particular motion is about.
Okay.
If I may, also, the household hazardous waste is a long-established, procedure how to do it. You're more worried about advertising and not the hazardous waste recycling itself. So that should be a little different.
Thanks, Ed. This specific motion was around glass and organics, recycling, educational outreach, and what we might learn.
Okay, good point. Guy, good point.
If I throw another point in there, if I may, some of the recycling things are like 100th of 1% of the waste stream. But, organics and glass, a considerable portion of the waste stream. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm just suggesting you concentrate your effort on you get the most returns for your time. And those are the two.
Ed, before we make a motion, can I ask you a question? Those
yes.
all of those green containers at the that you'd have to drive by in order to get up the hill at the dump, they all say glass and cardboard and corrugate recycling.
They should be totally removed. It's all single stream now. It makes no sense.
I looked at them the other day, and man, they're full of all kinds of stuff. And I actually saw people putting garbage in there.
Yeah.
Well, who runs that? Does Enviro run that too?
No.
Well, do we have somebody coming and pick?
No, but we're responsible for it.
Because some of those containers, they're full of paper, garbage, and glass and plastic. Who sorts that stuff out? Where does it go after that?
It's a single stream. All going to go recycling. Garbage in it.
We're going to go on all evening with this sidebar. We got.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, but
Okay. Well, you're right. It's a learning curve.
I can talk about it all evening too.
Okay. All right. So we're just going. We're making a motion on the Glass and Organics Recycling Subcommittee, and one of the things that they'll be looking at is possible education and outreach. But first, we have to find the data and the facts and where we're going before there's any education and outreach.
Right.
Do I hear a motion?
Mm-hmm. Well, I move that. Is this correct? I move that there be established a subcommittee for glass, organics / food waste.
Okay. To study the issue of subcommittee.
To study the issues of I think glass and food waste are the two biggest problems right now in the waste stream. Okay,
so to study a subcommittee to study the glass and organics recycling and to report back to the commission for possible improvements and or further action.
Right.
Okay.
Any comments? Go ahead.
Hugh?
Who's that?
Josephine.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you make that motion again and do it slowly so I understand this? Well, I can listen back on it.
You got me on that one. Okay. Okay. So we're entertaining a motion to establish a subcommittee to study and investigate the glass and organics recycling situation and report back to the commission as to the status, possibilities, and further potential actions.
Got it. Okay.
And on the subcommittee is volunteered to be Michael, Misty, and Tim.
Okay.
Tim?
Got it.
Tim.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it's Guy, number 6. I'd like to volunteer as well.
Okay, and so we're adding Guy onto that subcommittee. Josephine, we're adding Guy. So it's going to be Michael, Misty.
A little wordsmithing. It was not organic. The term is food waste.
Food waste, yeah.
Say that again?
What?
Food waste. It's glass and food waste.
Okay. Glass and food waste. Okay. So we're talking about the presence and the impact and the potentials of the glass and food waste in the waste stream.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Any comment? That's a motion. I need somebody to present the motion.
No.
Number 6.
Okay. Guy offered the motion, and I need somebody to second it.
I second it.
Number 1.
Okay, Andrew. Okay. So, Josephine, you have the motion, and I need a vote. Josephine, you have the motion?
I do, yep.
Okay. Any discussion? I think we discussed it till death. And let's vote on it. Any, all ayes? All in favor?
Aye. Yes.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Josephine, it sounds like the motion passed. So we have a subcommittee, which will report back to the commission on the glass and food waste in our waste stream as to the situation and the potentials and further recommendations. Okay, so that takes. We're still in old business, guys. I'm sorry, Ed. I wanted to get you out of here. No, but
I don't mind. I love this stuff.
The next one is just as major as all the others, unfortunately. The facilities upgrade status and bond status. Now, we put this on here because, and Misty, you can correct me, we didn't even know that there was a bond, and we didn't even know that there was an upgrade program until, I believe, our very last meeting. And that hit us like a ton of bricks because we're given a budget every year to study and approve, and we hadn't been told anything about it. But I had several of us had been down there and had complained about the terrible, terrible state of disrepair of the whole place. I mean, they were using drop lights for overhead lights. The bathroom wasn't working. The guy was going 100 yards away to go to a porta-john, and we're asking him to, have clean hands and use his mask, and he's using a portable john where there's no washing facilities. And what else was still there? Were electrical cords running through the water, the water ponds, the water gathering on the floors and all that kind of thing. So, can you give us an upgrade on the facilities upgrade and what the status of the bond is, or is that beyond what you're able to do right now?
No, working on it now. There is no bond. There's just a potential bond. But the upgrade last year, I asked the chief building inspector to go through the transfer station and tell us what's wrong. And he went through a list of about 55 things and said it should be shut down immediately. I said, well, that's good. We can't do that. And then we looked at, you can't build a new facility. What are you going to do in the meantime? So the acting provost, before John hired this company, Silver Petroselli, to do a study on it, and they did, and they gave us a report, which we're not too satisfied with, and we're having a conference call with them tomorrow morning. Okay? And we also had, Mike, who is a good part of him. He had tried to develop a plan to get rid of all those recycling containers down bottom there and redo the whole site. And never got anywhere. Now we're going to try and do that too. That would you cut off where you come in. If you look at it, you come into the station, you cut a hole in the hillside on the right.
Yeah.
You put a 100-yard trailer there. You put the recycling there. You don't need all those 6 separate trailers. Anyway, stuff like that.
Yep.
And that's what we're working on now. And I'll give you a report next month too.
Perfect. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
It's probably better for me than John to give you a report. It's up to him.
Say what?
It's probably better for me to meet with you next month than John, but that's up to him too.
Yep. Ed, while you said that, are you going to be here more than a month? I mean, you had talked to me that you had indicated to me that you weren't sure how long you're going to be able to stay.
Well, it looks like I'll be here for at least 6 months.
Okay, good. Oh, good. Okay.
Because there's no one around,
Okay.
Ed, did you actually retire?
They retired me.
Oh, okay.
But they brought me back part-time.
All right.
I did not know that.
So we're happy. Listen, we're happy you're around for this month and 6 months, okay?
So am I. I'm enjoying my partial retirement.
Yeah.
Well, you can't go anywhere. What's different, right?
But I have more to do now because now I got to do all Mike's work.
Right.
Oh boy. Okay. Any questions, Andrew?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Misty?
No. Good.
Tim?
No, I'm good.
Anybody else? Anybody want to jump in? Guy, Michael, or Joe?
No, let's move on. It's an hour coming up to an hour.
Oh my gosh, you guys! Come on.
Come on, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Okay. We already talked about in our introduction the compactor management metrics, and Ed has already said he's going to give us some guidelines on that. Does anybody think that we have to do any more discussion on that? I really think it's fair for us to give him some time to get not to get his feet wet. I don't mean that at all, but to get a handle on what's going on and how he would advise us. So I think we can.
You're not going to have everything next month, believe me.
Yeah, and the overtime status, I think we already beat that to death.
I think I can give you that.
It's Mike Pacewitz. Can I ask one question on that?
Go ahead, Mike.
I realize I'm brand new to all of this, so I don't understand a lot what was discussed in the past. But who is getting this overtime? Are these the contractors?
Enviro, yeah.
Enviro is the contractor that actually has the contract to manage the whole site. And they're the ones who operate those big machines, the backhoes and everything that push the stuff into the holes, and they're the ones supposedly managing it. They were saying that they were incurring overtime. Now, just as a matter of historical note, when the compactors broke 2 years ago, which the commission knew nothing about, and they were having significant problems processing the waste. The waste was being dumped on the tarmac, on the concrete and on the asphalt, and so. Okay,
Hugh, I don't mean to interrupt because I know with time. I think I understand a lot of that. I just needed to clarify that question. I thought
gotcha.
That's what it was.
Okay, yeah, it's mostly that. Now, where the overtime money is going now, we don't know. That's what Ed's going to help us with.
Also, remember, Ed again, Enviro also does all the hauling of the recycling to Oak Ridge and the garbage to Wheelabrator. So it could be any one of those.
Ah, okay.
So it's good to hear that we're going to get on top of this because that's a lot of money.
You bet.
Okay, item number 4 on the agenda. We've already talked about that. Okay. Ed's going to help us with that when he gives us that information. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 5. We already talked about this, so we're moving on quickly.
Good. Thank you.
Right, does everybody agree?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Item number 6. We've already talked about this. We're going to wait. Here's my recommendation as a chairman. I think we've discussed a lot of things that surround this, and I'd like to see the reports and the data that Ed gives us, and I'd like to have John in our meeting in February, and then we can more intelligently address this item number 6. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Any other comments? Andrew?
No, thank you.
Misty?
No.
Tim?
Nope.
Ed, anything else you'd like to say?
No, only one thing. Hey, Tim, good to hear from you again.
Same here. I'll stop down and say hello.
Hey, wait a minute. Number 1 and 2 and 5 to 9. Ed doesn't care about us. He just cares about Tim.
I have a question. I'm number 9.
Number 6? Number 6?
Up to 6. Go ahead.
Guy?
No comment, but I do want to, when we're into new business, I have a couple questions.
Guy, we can't go into new business today.
It's a special meeting.
Because, maybe I didn't explain this up front. I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. Because the meeting wasn't posted, we had given the schedule to Michael. He never posted it with the town. The town clerk didn't know about it. It wasn't posted, so we are not allowed to transact new business.
Right.
Okay. So from that includes public comment?
The public comments, there was a mechanism that was announced on the public website for the comments to go through, and those comments were to be. Ed, did you get any of the public comments? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So
we were all on. I'm not sure who got these, but I got an email from Becky with some comments and Bob Wall, and I just don't know how we deal with those.
We will bring those comments up as old business on the next meeting. If they were submitted for this meeting, I don't have them, but if they were submitted for this meeting, they were supposed to go to Ed Bowman, and we will bring them up.
I did get Becky's comments.
Okay, so
I got them today.
Oh, okay. So we'll bring them up as old business on first item of discussion, old business on the next meeting.
Okay.
We have a February meeting already scheduled.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Michael?
Nothing.
Okay, Joseph.
Oh, Ed, do you know when a full-time director of recycling solid waste will be put in? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
There's been no the whole department's being reorganized. I'm not sure there's going to be a Mike and an Audrey. Yeah, who knows?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And who right now is doing Audrey's work? Anybody?
No.
So I talked to her.
Audrey retired on her own. It wasn't part of this,
Yeah, no, she told me that. But I talked to a lady in your department, Carol.
Yeah, the only one left in your department. That's the only one left.
Now, is it okay to interface with her with respect to getting our meeting notice up and that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, good. Okay. I don't want to step on people's toes, and I know everybody has a function and a job, and I don't want them to say, oh, that those crazy guys from Solid Waste want me to do this and this and this. You know what I mean? Okay.
No, after meeting you tonight, I know you're not those crazy guys and gals from Solid Waste. You're normal people looking for information.
All right. Everybody, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
See you.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you.